For years, my parents belittled me, showering my sister with praise while tearing me apart. "She's a renowned attorney and you're a letdown," they'd say. For 5 painful years, they never missed a chance to remind me how much better my sister was than me. "Clara's a legal star and you're nothing," they'd taunt, their mocking laughter ringing in my ears. Every family event, every holiday, every dinner turned into an opportunity to target me. I was their punching bag, the one they couldn't stop ridiculing. But everything shifted yesterday, thanks to Clara herself. The torment started when Clara graduated from law school. She strode into our parents' home, her degree in one hand and a lucrative job offer in the other. From that day, she became their shining star, their pride, while I was reduced to the family failure, the son they barely acknowledged. My parents had always favored her, but after her success, their favoritism turned vicious. "She's a lawyer and you're a nobody," my dad declared one evening at dinner, smirking as my mom laughed so hard she wiped tears from her face. Clara didn't even flinch. She just sipped her drink, her smug grin saying it all. The insults never let up. At every birthday, every holiday, every forced family meal, I faced their scorn. If I mentioned my work, they'd roll their eyes. If I shared something I cared about, my mom would sneer, "Maybe one day you'll actually do something worthwhile." My dad would shake his head in disgust. Clara grew even crueler. "Loser Luke," she called me once in front of our entire extended family. "You should put that on your resume." The jabs kept coming. When Clara bought a fancy car, my parents bragged endlessly, asking when I'd replace my piece of junk. When she purchased a high-end condo, they mocked me. "Still stuck in a cheap rental." When she jetted off to Europe, they'd say, "If you worked harder, maybe you could live a little." I tried standing up for myself. I tried ignoring them. I even avoided family visits for months. But nothing stopped them. The moment I stepped into their house, the verbal attacks resumed. The only ones who ever defended me were my grandparents. My grandpa once snapped at my dad, "That's enough." But my dad just chuckled, saying, "We're just joking." My grandma would quietly tell me, "I believe in you," but it didn't change the dynamic. Clara was their golden child, and I was the mistake they wished they could forget. Then came the phone call that turned everything upside down. Late one night, Clara called me, drunk and in tears. She needed help, not just money, but a place to stay. I nearly hung up, but something made me listen. 6 months earlier, she'd asked me for $6,000, promising to repay it. She never did. Now she was calling again, desperate. "I have nowhere else to go," she sobbed. Against my instincts, I asked what happened. The truth spilled out. She'd been fired from her prestigious law firm months ago. She wouldn't explain why, only that it was unfair. Then came the bombshell. She'd burned through her savings, maxed out her credit cards, taken out loans, and had been secretly borrowing from our parents. The same parents who mocked my struggles had been quietly bailing her out, covering her expenses, protecting her from consequences. But the real shock? Clara had been bankrolling them for years. Their house, their trips, their extravagant lifestyle, all funded by her. Now she was broke. "I had to sell my car," she whispered. "I'm losing my place, I have nothing." I should have felt pity, but instead I laughed. The golden child had crashed, and I knew exactly what to do. I let Clara move in, not out of compassion, but curiosity. I wanted to see how she'd cope relying on me, the brother she'd belittled for years. She arrived the next day, a shadow of her former self. Hair unkempt, clothes disheveled, eyes empty. My friend Sarah, who'd endured Clara's arrogance for years, was livid. The atmosphere was tense, but Clara kept to herself, hiding in the spare room, consumed by shame. Then my parents called. My mom put on a fake grateful tone, but it was hollow. My dad insisted Clara move back home. They couldn't bear the thought of their perfect daughter depending on me. Days later, I overheard my mom pushing Clara to ask me for money. The hypocrisy was unreal. After years of ridiculing me, they now saw me as their new cash machine. I confronted Clara. "If you ask me for money for them, you're gone." She didn't argue. The final showdown happened at my grandparents' house. My parents, desperate, tried to guilt me into supporting the family. But my grandma unleashed years of pent-up anger, exposing how they'd drained Clara while belittling me. The room fell silent. Later, Clara confessed, her voice shaking. "They used me, and I let them." I cut my parents off for good. No yelling, no drama, just a calm end. My grandparents, appalled, rewrote their will, cutting my parents out and leaving everything to me. The fallout, my parents spiraled into financial chaos, begging relatives for help. Clara moved away, started therapy, and even apologized to me. As for me, for the first time, I felt free. Months later, my mom sent a pleading email begging for money. My dad's message was colder. You'll pay for this. But I just smiled. They wanted a perfect child. They chose the wrong one. In the months that followed, the full extent of my parents' financial mess came to light. My grandparents hired an investigator who uncovered that they'd been living far beyond their means for years. They'd taken out multiple mortgages on their house, racked up enormous credit card debt, and even borrowed against their retirement funds, all while pretending to be financially stable. The irony. The luxurious lifestyle they used to shame me, the fancy dinners, exotic vacations, constant home renovations, was all paid for by Clara's income. Now that her money was gone, their world was crumbling. Meanwhile, Clara stunned everyone. She relocated to a smaller town, took a modest job at a local law firm, far from the high-stakes corporate world she once ruled, and began therapy to untangle years of manipulation. The most surprising moment came when she sent me a heartfelt email apologizing for everything. "I spent years thinking I was above you," she wrote. "But really I was their pawn. They built me up to control me. And the worst part? I look down on you for being independent. We're not close, not after all that, but we exchange occasional messages. Last I heard, she was dating a librarian and had adopted a stray cat, a far cry from the glamorous attorney she once was. My parents, though, refused to accept their downfall. They tried everything, guilt trips with my mom leaving voicemails about family loyalty, ignoring how they'd treated me. Threats with my dad emailing that he'd disown me as if that was a loss, and fake crises claiming my mom needed medical funds. When I asked for proof, they hung up. Their most desperate move. Showing up at my place, pretending they just wanted to talk. Security removed them. The biggest surprise came from my grandparents. Not only did they disinherit my parents, but they set up trust funds for Clara and me. When my parents found out, they were furious. My mom called my grandma, screaming that she was a cruel old woman. My dad showed up at their house, demanding they change their minds. My grandpa's response? "You dug your own grave. Deal with it." Now, a year after cutting them off, Clara is piecing her life back together. My parents? They've downsized to a cramped apartment, and my dad's working a part-time job to survive. Me? I used part of the inheritance to launch my own company, something my parents would have laughed at me for even trying. And the best part? I no longer care what they think. They spent years saying I'd never match Clara's success. But in the end, I'm the one who broke free. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like, share it with others, and follow for more real-life stories and emotional journeys. Your support means everything and helps us share more content like this. Thank you for reading, and I'll see you in the next story.